Well, it is finally time to put her back in. Transmission's all mounted up. Did I scare you?
No, this water's running.
So, Bubba, how many hours would you say I probably spent wire brushing all this stuff?
Probably about 10 total.
It's a lot of wire brushing.
10.
And then a whole lot of brake cleaning, and then a whole lot of acetone wiping.
Ass wiping.
Yeah, ass wiping. But I went all the way, I went back to where you see that little cross member on the cab there. So we're gonna do the bottom of the cab to the seam here. We're gonna mask this because it used to have that sealer stuff on it that I don't want to put back because all it does is hold moisture against it. So all that'll get done. So we're about to start rolling on some rust encapsulator. All right, rust encapsulator turned out great. It's gonna look really good with that motor sitting in between all that. Painted everything that I could easily get to from the front, and what you're really gonna notice here anyways. So that's done. Show you the frame over here. Turned out really good. I went on and wrapped the edges here too. Everything's gonna be behind the fenders. So cleaned all that up so it would be protected well. Only thing I didn't do was the cool springs. And honestly, I don't think you're gonna notice. I just didn't want to get into breaking the whole front end down. I know it's not that big a deal, but this project has drug on and it will just snowball if we just keep taking stuff apart. Painted this here where the master cylinder goes because the paint was all flaking there, probably from brake fluid over the years. So got a brand new master cylinder we will put on there, and we're just going back with the regular factory thing as we're leaving the four-wheel drum for right now. It will get disc later, but it was only like $30 at O'Reilly's, my cost. So we'll have a new master cylinder and probably do a four-wheel drum brake job on it for now, and roll on with that until it's time to upgrade the disc. Lee cleaned up the front bumper. We went on and gave it a coat of the rust encapsulator on the back, so it'd look real nice. So tomorrow we'll be prepping the motor and putting the clutch, all that fun stuff on it, getting that ready to go in. All right, got our flywheel on. We're putting the new clutch on, and we managed to break one of our original, probably 60-year-old bolts that holds the pressure plate on. So Lee's over at Dad's house going through his Ford bolt bucket and finding 6 matching bolts. I'm just going to replace all of them because that did not feel good. It was to 35 foot-pounds, and I was probably nowhere near that, and that one decided it was done. So that's where we're at with that. Getting the new clutch on. What else have we done today? There's a couple thin spots in the engine paint from Eric painting it, mainly around all the exhaust flanges here. I went around and touched all that up with a brush. I didn't want it rusting. I got the old greasy transmission all cleaned up, new output shaft seal on it, and fresh coat of high temp heat paint that we got sitting here by the waste oil burner, getting it to cure up a little bit faster. And as soon as we get the clutch on, we'll put the bell housing and get the starter bolted up to that, and then do transmission here. Transmission's all mounted up with the new clutch. Got a glove on the back to catch all the oil that's probably starting to come out of it some. Probably could have just drained it, but we didn't. Starter's on, new starter, with the heat blanket on it. And I went on and ran my positive wire because I knew that was not going to be fun with the headers. Put some real good heat stuff around it back here also. New 100 amp tough stuff. Alternator is on, which took some tweaking and adjusting because it is right up against the head. And I had to move the alternator bracket to here because it would not clear. I had started to barely clearance this because the bracket was coming in contact with this bigger bodied alternator. Put the thermostat in it because from the dyno it did not have a thermostat in it. New belt is on. We took the old oil pressure sender for just the idiot light on the dash because that truck does not have an oil pressure gauge on it. This is for a gauge. I have an autometer gauge we're going to hook up temporarily once we get this running in the truck so we can monitor oil pressure. Fuel pump block off plate, did that. Motor mounts are back on, which this side I had to clearance just a little bit. You can see it's barely got some breathing room there. So I had to clearance that a little bit. Put the block plugs back in. We had them out so that it didn't have any water in it with the cold weather around here to worry about something freezing. What else? I think that's it. We're ready to go. We replaced our ground strap here before we put it on. Lee just put the shocks back on from us painting it. I think that's it. Cross member is over there painted and ready. So we're gonna put y'all on time lapse here shortly. And hopefully this is gonna go smooth putting this in with the headers on it. I would love to not take them off since those gaskets are already broke in and seated. And not to mention not fighting with doing it in the truck. So let's see how it goes. Dad's on the way over. So I don't know what happened to the time lapse. You can see that little bit that we did. We went to put it in. We were really hoping it was going to go in with the headers on just to save some time. But we had to pull the headers off, put it in, and then pull the motor to one side, pull the motor to the other side, put the headers on. It's all now sitting in here on the transmission cross member and everything. And we're going to go get some matching bolts because somehow some of the bolts got misplaced for the headers. It's got two mismatched ones on both sides to get that right. But it's in here now. Are you happy, Dan?
Yeah.
And don't worry, the ugly valve covers are coming off. Everything looks so nice till you look at those valve covers.
We just need to do the 71.
Yeah. Dad's got a 71 bump side with a 302, 3 on the tree. All right, so we tightened our motor mounts down. We had a clearance issue with this primary right here, so I took my die grinder and gave it about an 1/8 inch of clearance there. And we tried to bend the primary a little bit. These are really thick primaries. They did not want to be bent, so that was the easiest way to address that. So she's all sitting in here, and now the next process is going to be start plumbing and doing what wiring we can. I'm going to do everything that I can with that front cap off. All right, we got the 67 over here on the lift. We did it late last night and kind of worked. Later, got the Z-bar all put back on and clutch hooked up. Did some little stuff, hooked this ground wire back up to the back of the block. Figured out with the Z-bar hooked up that the collector for the header over here is not going to work because the throwout bearing fork or clutch fork is hitting the collector. So I'm going to come up with a solution for that. We got the ACES fuel injection sitting up here. We started getting our lines cut to length. They're all routed under the truck. We'll be showing some of that tomorrow. We got to go run and pick up some 8AN fittings because we are not utilizing the factory in-cab tank anymore. The fuel cells getting mounted back here in the back of the truck. Our lines are coming up right there. We got, this is for the 8AN, that's for the 6AN return. This is supply going under the pump that's mounted right here under the truck. So we got some fittings for that tomorrow. So yeah, this is coming along, and I think we're gonna take the day tomorrow and try to get everything done that makes sense to do while it's right here on the lift. And then we got another head gasket job to start the following day. So that's where we're at on this project. Hopefully have it wrapped up to the point of where the next day we can work on its front cap and then all the wiring. Hey Gary, what are you doing?
Putting this fitting on race car fit.
Who came through with the tools?
Oh, Lance did.
Yeah, I don't deal with all this AN stuff, but he had all the tools to do it. So we got our fuel lines going on, pre-pump. Bubba's working on the post-pump connection right here. Lines going up the frame rail there. We will zip tie all that up. Grommets through the floor going up to the fuel cell, and we'll show y'all when it's all buttoned up here with the lines going up there. All right, we got our fuel cell mounted and it's all plumbed up here. I just got to end up doing a vent. We ran out of what we needed for hose for that, but we're out the vent. So that's done. This is temporary because I forgot to get a double female 6AN fitting for putting that filter right here on the end of the pump. But everything else is routed. Just got to strap all the lines up, and we haven't done that yet because I'm going to run the wires that go to the fuel pump right here along with it when we do it. I started working on my exhaust. This was my solution for the problem with the shift fork. I just welded the collector to each one here. These will get cut off, and I'll still have a way to disconnect my exhaust. I got the exhaust all tacked up here. So this is going to have a clamp right here on the headers on both sides. Got my H pipe right there underneath the drive shaft coming out of the transmission. So I was getting ready to start welding all this up. I don't know if I'm going to go on and run the rest of the exhaust, but this is enough all finished up that I can hang it, and I can get my O2 sensor put in, and we can get back on putting the rest of the front of this together. So I'm gonna get busy on welding this and probably call it a day for this, and we'll pick up tomorrow. All right, from the headers back to the H pipe is all welded up. Didn't turn out too bad. So let's say it's a butt weld. That's the slip joint, and of course slip joints there. So we'll slide this back on here. I'll mark my O2 sensor first thing in the morning, drill that, weld it up, and then this can go on and get clamped permanent. And that may be where we stop on the exhaust for now. I don't know, we'll see. All right, we got our bung welded in for our O2 sensor. We're gonna go and put that in and get this exhaust on the truck. Gary, what'd I give you for employee of the month?
New tie.
Yeah, looks good. All right, so exhaust is finished. Well, kind of, almost. We got our H pipe on here all welded up. We're going to pull it off so we can slide our clamps here where it goes to the headers. Oh, I need to cut these off still. Forgot about that. I cut slits in the H pipe here because we're going with this style clamp. That way the mufflers over here, which are all welded up. So this whole section can just come off, and all the exhaust will be removable from the truck without having to cut anything. It will all unbolt and slide off for any future work or transmission swaps or whatever that may or may not happen. These are the old 40 series flows. I actually cut this opening bigger to this 3-inch right here, so we'll have a 3-inch outlet on it now. Threw a coat of heat paint on it, butt welded there. This is for our hangers for the exhaust under the truck. So I'm gonna get these stickers pulled off of here because you might actually see these under the truck and look like crap. And we'll get that bolted up and show you all that.
I can't never re-undo anything.
All right, we're trying to get all this sticky crap off because you might actually see these under the truck.
Move your hand while I can get the heat on there.
Okay, you want to melt my hand after you tried to melt Bubba's?
Yeah.
I still got a little more.
This is a professional exhaust holder right here, AKA Granddaddy's stepladder. All right, there it is. Looks real nice. Got our hangers right there, our Walker hangers, and this is all Walker exhaust pipe, and I believe, remember if this is Walker or if this is a Summit Universal H pipe kit that I bought. But all just pieced together. Nothing was custom bent or nothing like that. It is all mandrel bent stuff to begin with though, but there it is, bolted up to our headers with the stainless steel band clamps. I had these in my pile of parts, and these are new. All right, we are finally getting rid of the hideous Edelbrock valve covers. Got them pulled off. We're also ditching the crappy cork gaskets, and we're going with the Felpro rubber gasket that do not leak. And what we're also doing here is we're bridging the gap between our manifold and our head with a dab of RTV to help seal that up also so we don't have leaks. So we'll show you all those here in just a minute sitting on this motor. That looks so much better. Bubba's sweet wife, Amy, painted those for me. Started out enjoying it. I think she was hating it by the end of it. She didn't realize the letters were rounded. But she did a hell of a job. And that looks really good. So pretty much everything under the engine bay will be black or shiny or silver. What are you doing?
I can unplug wires.
Having a good time, huh?
Oh yeah, blast.
You glad it's the last one there?
I am.
So we got rid of the old nasty yellow Excel wires. I don't know what it is about running spark plug wires. It just, you try to make them look neat and you just feel like they look kind of messy at the end. I don't know. I guess it is what it is. So we're gonna do this and put the front cap on after that. Lee bled all the brakes, put the new master cylinder on a little bit ago. Yeah, that's where we're at. Put the front cap on. We got wiring to figure out and coolant system. That's pretty much it. All right, are we ready to see if something happens, Lee? It's been a while, been a long journey. So what we're gonna do real quick, we just got done completing all of our wiring. And I guess I should give y'all an update real quick first. We did all the wiring for the Aces. We put all of our original wiring harness up there. That's all loomed together and kind of molded together up there. New Champion radiator, 1992 Ford Taurus fan, which those pull a whole lot of air. We have 2 fan switches, and that goes to a 70 amp fan relay circuit there. Got all of our grounds here. So yeah, we wired the fuel pump up earlier, ran the wire down there to it. I forgot to put something over this, and I'm going to. I'm just not worried about it right now at the moment. So what we're gonna do real quick is turn the key on, and I'm assuming we'll be able to prime the fuel pump without doing the setup wizard first. We're gonna find out, but what I'm gonna do is we're gonna leave the supply undone, let the pump run for just a split second, catch it, and any possible thing that we left over in that line, setting it up, will get flushed into this. I'm not so much worried about the return side because it'll go through the tank, and then one of the 2 filters would catch anything that got in there. So, but I wanna make sure the supply is flushed out. So yeah, we're gonna hit that key in just a second and see what happens. All right, we primed everything. We went through the startup wizard. The Aces is not lighting up with key on right now, but the pump is kicking on. All right, crisis diverting. Let's try it again. Used to the key being on the other side. So I worked on this till almost 1 o'clock in the morning last night. And as y'all remember, that wiring looked all pretty last night. So truck would not run, pop the 30 amp fuse in the system here. Screen no longer works anymore because I guess it messed up the resistors or whatever in that. When, cause what I called Aces and I asked about these coil wires. This had a plug on it originally. And I said, what do y'all want me to do with these coil wires? So the directions are a little vague. Am I supposed to run my coil on that? Or am I supposed to use my old coil wires or what? They said, no, you wire this up to your coil. You don't use your old coil wires, and you run your tack input off of your coil negative. That's what the guy said. And I repeated it back to him. I said, okay, you want me to wire this up this way? Blah, blah, blah. I went through all that. So I got to thinking last night, I was like, it makes no sense. I bought this system for fueling the truck. I didn't buy it for replacing my ignition system. I'm happy with the MSD distributor box, everything. So I got to thinking that makes no sense that system would be trying to run my MSD system. So I've rewired it with the old, coming from that 6AL box to the coil then. Or just, and this is not the way this is staying. This is just for testing purposes because I'm not going to waste a bunch of butt connectors and stuff to get this right. So did that. The truck would fire up and run for about 2 seconds. And that was with the coil input still being here. So I gave up at 1 o'clock in the morning because that's when you start making mistakes, when you start pushing it too hard. So I went inside, went to bed, slept in just a little bit this morning after staying up so late. Called Aces, 30 minutes on hold. Got a real nice guy on the phone, told him what I was told to do the previous day. He said, no, you should be getting from your tack output on your 6AL. I said, well, it'd be nice if the direction said that. It's a very nice system. I've been happy with everything on it. There's some vagueness on the wiring portion of their instructions on what to do. But it all works now because it's now getting RPM signal, except for the screen, which we're gonna use the old tough book that we use the Auto Ingenuity on all the time with this can wire that came with it also, which just sucks. I wanted to go and get the screen mounted where I wanted to put it. But it does fire up here. So I'm gonna go get some more test tape. I'm gonna get some more connectors and stuff I need to do, and probably spend another hour and a half or so dressing this harness all up like I did yesterday, redoing that. And then we can actually try out our fans that we put in and let this learn, set the TPS, adjust the IEC, and then hopefully throw a hood, air filter and a hood on it and go get to drive this thing. Granted that nothing else is wrong, so we'll go from there. All right, so we're in a pickle again. We were ready to wrap this up. As you can see, spark plugs are pulled up because I had the cap off once I had everything fixed, letting the fuel injection letting the motor get up to temp so the fuel injection could sit here and learn, and then I could also set the TPS and the IAC on the throttle body, and ran all of 10 minutes and had the cap off, letting it burp air out since the motor had air in it clearly, and I was just topping it off, letting it burp. Went over there and looked at the computer for just a second. I was going to see if I could just play with and force the fan on with the tuning, and I didn't get there. I looked out here and there's coolant shooting a foot out of the radiator, like it had compression leaking all into it. Called my motor builder, Eric, and told him what was going on. He said, well, pull the plugs, let's look at the plugs, do a compression test. So got to doing a compression test, put it on the first cylinder, and go to spin it over, and the motor's just really slow. So I said, well, hell, I guess the new alternator wasn't working while it ran. It just started sucking the juice out of the battery. Come over to the battery. Battery was hot. So put the battery charger on it. Still does the same thing. So then I swapped to another battery that had 12.8 sitting over here with my good battery pile, and did the same thing. Put the battery charger on it. Still did the same thing. Called Eric back, the engine guy, and told him what it was, and he's like, man, something ain't right inside that motor then. I said, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So got the ratchet, the 1/2-inch ratchet. Where'd it go? And I said, well, let's just see how easy it spins over. And that's taking all I have. And this is with no spark plugs in it. This is not how I wanted to end this video. I wanted to end it with driving the truck and easing this new motor into getting to the point of ripping on it, because we got a new clutch in it and everything else. So I don't know what's going on, but something's going on inside the motor to cause that much resistance, because you should be able to spin it over with that ratchet. Yes, it's gonna have some resistance, but nothing like that without the spark plugs in it. So Eric said, bring it back. He'll get right on it, sounded like, and figure out what's going on with it. So I guess tomorrow, Gary just said, why don't we just go on and pull it out while it's right there where it's at, and then move it back over in the corner of the shop till the motor shows back up, and we'll get back to working on everything else, because this week has been a wash, because we just spent damn near the entire week working on this truck. And yeah, I needed to do that, but this is also what I do for a living, and I didn't make any money this week. I just spent money. But we're gonna get it worked out. It'll be a lot quicker this time doing this, because everything's plumbed up, everything's wired up, everything's figured out. It's just a matter of undoing and putting it back in and hooking everything back up after that. So I don't know if we're gonna make a video of pulling the motor out again, but what I want to tell Eric is when he finds out whatever's going on with it, we'll shoot over there to Southern Performance and let him show us what he does or does not find inside this motor and what's going on with it. So I think the motor probably all together, between the break-in period on the dyno and then the actual dyno pulls that we had on the video, and then I maybe ran it all of 15 minutes here, we probably are somewhere in the ballpark of about an hour and a half of runtime, maybe 2 hours. So whatever it was, did it in a hurry. And what I'm worried, or what I'm considering that it might be, is this block is 60 over. Some of the FE motors are known for the cylinder walls being a little thin when you get to punching the block out that far. So this block is maxed out where it could be at. So I don't know if we got a thin cylinder wall, maybe it cracked or began to crack on the last dyno pull, and then going through another heat cycle here, finish it off. Something like that, or oiling on the bottom end, or I don't know, but we'll figure it out. So we'll be back with this truck, I hope, before too long, getting this motor in it, because I'm tired of it being a boat anchor sitting here in the shop. I'm tired of not being able to drive it, and it's kind of the shop truck. So when we finally get on that other 6.0 truck, we'll have 2 shop trucks. It'll be kind of fun. Something to hop in and go run and get some parts, and run and get lunch, stuff like that. But anyways, Automated Garage signing out. I'm a little down about this. You spend this much money, spend this much time, makes you get excited about wanting to try out everything you've done, and it's just not happening. So check out the other content on the channel, automatedgarage.com, Facebook, Instagram. Consider visiting our Patreon, becoming a member of that if you want to help support content on the channel here. We do some giveaways, got behind the scene content on that also. So we appreciate y'all. We'll holler at you later.